During this lecture, I want to go outside the box, literally, for you with a primitive survival skills concept. And that is one that our old people, the world over, have always possessed. It's the use of their incredible imagination. So why is that important in the context of primitive survival skills? Let me give you a scenario. You're stuck in a survival situation, facing life and death issues, needing to provide for valuable and necessary life support requirements, but you don't have a cutting tool. You don't have a steel edge, a knife, an axe, a saw even. So you're left with this gap in need. I need to have this to make the next level of my life support manifest. So if we look back to the way the old people operated, we have the solutions. And that was to be able to look at what's around them and apply imagination, creativity, visualization. To see something within other things is an incredible ability, and we as human beings universally are gifted with it. The trouble is, in this day and age, a lot of that imagination work, thanks to the sort of phenomena of Hollywood and the incredible talent of artists in that space to bring things to life, it's made us a little bit lazy as a species, because we don't really need to do that anymore, do we? We can just sit there and go, I'm picturing a story that I've read in a book, and here is the imagery of that exact story manifest for me. And as a consequence, I'm not exercising that muscle of imagination. Imagination is crux to problem solving, because I need to be able to look at a situation and go, well, what could I use in this situation to solve that problem? That's what I'm talking about when we're talking about primitive survival skills and its contextual application of imagination. So say, for example, I don't have one of these, all right? Fantastic piece of steel designed for survival, yeah, but I don't have it. I'm stuck without it for some reason. Okay, so let's now look at what we can do to solve the problem of getting a cutting tool. So let's go back to what our elders would have done. They didn't have a modern tool, steel, to work with. So let's look at what we could do in that situation. First off, we found a piece of rock, just rock. It doesn't have to be the perfect rock. We're not talking about looking for a piece of rock that's going to allow me to make an intricate artifact. I don't care about the intricacy or its value beyond my immediate satisfaction of primal needs as a human being. I need a cutting tool to make things. So I pick up a rock. If it's got that kind of speckle to it, that's great. It gives me some indication that it's got maybe a high content of silica and other minerals that will lend it to having a sharp, broken edge. And at the end of the day, that is what I'm trying to achieve. I don't have a metal cutting tool, so I want to make a sharp cutting edge out of rock or stone. So to do that, it's quite simple. And we're going to cover this in a later lesson. But we basically would pick up another rock and go, all right, I'm going to hit that there and see what happens. And what we're going to pull off is a flake. A flake. We're not going to turn that into an arrowhead because I don't need it to be an arrowhead. I don't have that luxury of time, as we've discussed previously. But what it does give me is a razor sharp edge. And that edge allows me now to work and shape my external environment and solve the problem. So the tool I've created now, with my imagination, my ability as a human being to see that as more than just a rock that I put around my campfire or something, because to make the fire in the first place, I need to have the imagination to create the tools to necessarily create the fire. So the problem-solving attribute that I'm investing in here is my imagination. Okay? So a lot of the primitive survival skills we're going to discuss throughout this course are going to be centered around engaging fully your imagination. Now, this is important. For those of you with a very heavy anthropology lean, that is fantastic, and you'll be able to bring that knowledge across into the survival skills space. However, don't let it limit you. There are no rules, as we've discussed previously, in the survival game. Survival is defined as the act of staying alive. that means I can't restrict it to, well, the people in such and such part of the world utilize this type of stone and only this type of stone, or that only this type of technique, and that was it. That limits me. This is a survival course, but we're utilizing old technology to provide the life support requirements. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Let's utilize that imagination ability that we've been so wonderfully endowed with to create things that we need.